Hi, friends. My name is Toast Derek. No, that's not quite right. It's Host Eric. Close, though. And I'm the host of Talking with French People. It's been a long day. It has been a long, long day. I just woke up. It's already been an incredibly long day. And, it's only been a day for 5 minutes. So that's not a good sign. Hi, email answer. Hi, Gen X Seal. You're not first. You're second. Sorry. You lose. You lose, bro. You lose. Winner. You lose. I am a special pretty snowflake. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing that. A lot of people around here don't seem to get that fact that I'm an extremely special and pretty special snowflake. And they treat me like a regular snowflake. I'm like, hey, better knock that shit off. This is the first bar for the day. I literally just woke up, like less than 2 minutes ago. First thing I just put up the couch, started live streaming. Good morning, Zaylen Black. And remembering Winston's mom's always wise advice, I said, okay, fine, I will make a typology title. I am going to call it When Types Collide. Because that seems like the kind of title that would would be good for like an FX show or something, show on FX or something like that. That's nice sup there, Jax. I think you'll do very well with the ladies with that sup. As we determined yesterday, the best way to attract the attention of women is to begin with "Hey girl" and then follow it up with "sup." Let's say you're someone who would like to make love to a beautiful woman. Well, you need to learn a couple of things first. First, you need to learn "Hey girl." Then you need to learn "sup." Hi, Federico. Well, just remember, the key thing to Gen X Seal is go to my last video. I can see your test example. Oh, I just fucking woke up. You are like the most annoying boss in the history of the world. Always getting me to try to do my work. I don't want to do any work right now. It's Saturday morning. I just woke up. I'm pulling bong rips. I'm making jokes. I'm talking about sup. Talking about "Hey girl." I mean, I thought that's strange. I thought that's strange that he hasn't finished it. Because I was thinking about him, actually, when I was lying in bed, kind of rolling around here, not getting up yet. He's going to really have a problem if he tries to make a video about that, right? Because he doesn't have anything, he doesn't have any ammunition. Look, I got 2 typings today. One at 9 p.m., like 11 hours from now, and one at midnight, like 14 hours from now. I will look at your tests before then, okay? I will, because I do want to see what you have to say about it, and I want to be able to see if there's anything in there that I can try out in the upcoming 2 typing sessions. So if if they've let me publish, and I never know until I talk to them, actually, whether they're going to let me publish or not. But if they decide they want to publish, then you will see in those published videos me applying things from your Mia if I think that there's anything in there that I can use. Okay. So definitely I will, your work will not be unlooked at by me, but everybody needs to remember that Eric, who's just starting a bottle of Adderall, has no problem with doing whatever. Of course, blah, 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 blah. And then Adderall free Eric goes, wait till the next bottle. Have I considered live streaming it? Well, I mean, nobody has. People pay me to do it. They pay me $100. So I ask them, would you like me to record? That's true. Hey, I'm not busting your chops either. I mean, I did bust your chops, but I'm not seriously busting your chops. I'm just gently busting your chops. So, have I considered streaming them? So when I start the session, I usually say, first, do you want me to record this or not? If some people definitely don't want me to record, although usually when they say that, then they end up kind of regretting it, that they didn't record it. But and I say, okay, do you want me to record it and upload it to the channel and publish it? Or do you want me to upload it to Google Drive and share it with you privately? And some people say that, and some people say publish. And then some people want to watch it first before they decide whether they want to publish. Nobody really says, go ahead and live stream it. I've never really asked if anybody wants to live stream it. Usually I don't think they do. Of course he did. Of course he declined. Then why do you have an opinion on it? That's right. I declined the declination. Yeah, I know you're talking about a friend. But the point is, if that's a dismissal of my typing without knowing anything at all about it, right? Then of course he doesn't want to talk to me about it because he's probably going to get caught, He doesn't really have a position on either MBTI or cognitive functions. He has a statement he affirms. Sean has an extremely good point there. Okay, an extraordinarily good point and an important one. Although he doesn't necessarily phrase it perfectly, he or she, with the way it's spelled, it could be either one. I'm not sure. But pseudoscience, the way people say it, makes the assumption that only scientifically verifiable things are true. That nothing that's not science is worth anything. So it's like if I go to a psychologist and I say, hey, I'm feeling sad because and he says, well, have you thought about this? Blah, blah, blah. That's not scientifically validated. It's still worth something, though. If you go to a priest and say, I'm confessing my sins, that's not scientifically validated. It's still worth something, though. If you go to a matchmaker and ask them their opinion about whether you as a couple are going to work out, that's not scientifically validated. It's still worth something, though. And if your favorite philosopher is Nietzsche, then you don't care about thinking at all. He's probably not an ENTP if his favorite philosopher is Nietzsche, or he's very young. Nietzsche's not a good thinker. Does not have good TI philosophy. Has good NI metaphor philosophy, maybe, if you like that kind of stupid shit. Oh, he's 16. Well, there you go. Yeah, Nietzsche's all NI. And I want to point out something. This cup is not dirty, okay? This is a self-cleaning mug And these stains were put here by the Native Americans as designs prior to firing this cup. Okay? These are actual Native American coffee stain designs that that make this the greatest cup in the world. And like I said, entirely cleaning. I don't ever have to clean my coffee cup. It's amazing. It's kind of like my bong. I also have a self-cleaning bong. You might think that doesn't really look much like glass anymore. My cup is not transracial. Good question, though. My cup might be multiracial. No, very clean. They're both self-cleaning. You guys don't seem to get this. They're self-cleaning. My bong's a proud black woman. Okay? My bong is simply a proud black woman. That's all. Hey, stop being racist against my bong. My bong's extremely woke. All this TE. A 2 email anthrax? TE from you as well? My goodness. Acetone does presumably work. Yeah, he was being extremely dismissive without a warrant, so he's like, I don't want to argue that one. Look, bongs are like barbecues. They don't get dirty, they get seasoned. Oh, that was T.I. You deduced that I was being disgusting. Okay. I don't think that's... I'm not being disgusting. Look, it's not sticky at all. It's not sticky. And this bong, like I said, bongs don't get dirty. They get seasoned. That's what it's like. It's like a cast iron skillet. I don't claim to have a scientific theory, I guess. I don't understand what the word science is. I mean, it's scientific in the sense that it makes predictions that can be tested and falsified. There's ways to falsify it. It's falsifiable. Does that make it scientific? Okay, well then that's where you have to start with, like, okay, so it is hypothetical. It's a theory or a model, but in that way, then it is scientific. But there is ways to validate it. So he's wrong about the second part. In other words, if just capacity to validate or falsify is sufficient to make something scientific, then this is scientific and it passes all muster. It's not proved yet, but it doesn't mean it. But it's the data is consistent with it. She hasn't gotten it yet, Running Fox. Good question, but she's gonna get it shortly. Validate my claim that bongs get seasoned. Okay, I will. I am 142 years old. And there's only one reason that I have looked so young despite being 142. I've done a series of tests with other people who smoke their bongs and clean their bongs frequently, and they age much faster than me. Much, much faster. And I've accounted for all vectors possible so that this is the only difference between the control group and me is bong dirtiness, and I live longer. No, true, Samuel. True. I've done years and years of scientific research on this. Yeah, Rachel's getting an iPhone 12. iPhone 12 Max Pro. Pretty cool, huh? Hey, Winston's mom, don't make me stick an a posterior up your butthole, okay? So I think about your a posteries. Ooh, is it coming today? I'm going 1080, y'all. Kashatria Dharma, I agree with you in principle, but Rachel is TE polar. So that's different. TE polar people doesn't apply to them. They can have Apple phones if they want. Thank you, Chris M. Chris M knows the history of this bong. It was made out of, it wasn't originally a bong. It was originally the Holy Grail. And I had it made into a bong to make sure that my bong rips were holified. Oh, cool. So how about that for all you TE fuckers out there, huh? I listened to your advice. Rachel got me for Christmas a new camera. Actually, it wasn't I who listened to your advice. It was she who listened to your advice. She was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I said, "I don't know." I think she said, "How about a new one of those?" Pretty sure that's how it went. I said, "Yeah, that's a good Christmas present." Joe Wisdom. Here's some redundancy. I have a INTP friend. You don't need to say the next part. Who is brilliant but unconfident socially and struggles with social anxiety? That part of the definition of INTP. What advice would you give to that INTP? You can't advise INTPs. You cannot advise INTPs. They don't listen to you. Chris M., I like what you're thinking here. I like the idea of filling my bong with holy water. I really like that idea. Why are the gardeners here today? Oh, it's Monday. No, it's not. It's Saturday. That's just my dad. My dad playing gardener for some reason. So the gardeners come on Monday. My dad's decided to leaf blow shit. I know. You can't advise INTPs about anything. You can't advise them. They don't listen to you. They will not listen to you. They are so TI. They just will never listen to you. It doesn't even matter if they're in like 6th grade. I had this problem with my debater Edmund, also known as Lit Legend. He named himself Lit Legend. He was a lit legend in debate, let me tell you. But he also wouldn't listen to you. It's like, yeah, I know. I mean, the thing is, though, here's the deal. And this is something I've stressed before. And this is advice I would give to any ENTP for sure. I don't know if INTPs will listen to it. But the advice I would give to any ENTP is put on the learner's hat. Stop having to be the smartest person about everything. Go in and ask questions and try to learn from somebody. Start off by saying, I don't know as much and I'm not as smart about as somebody else. But whatever the thing is, I don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter. Start by doing that. It's like I had a few experiences in my life where I had to do that. When I learned how to teach, I think he was an INFP teacher. And and at some point I'd say, look, you're doing a shitty job. You need to listen to me and follow my instructions and be a good employee in that regard, at least. And then you'll actually become a good teacher. And I had my come to Jesus moment, and I had to like be like, oh shit, I'm shitty at this, and he's really good at this, and I don't know best. It's like I was all metaing up the whole time. Well, is this really appropriate for relationship for people to have with each other anyway? This whole classroom teacher thing. It's like, so that's the number one advice I would give to an INTP or an ENTP. They're not trying to be the smartest person in the room. They don't trust anybody else's thinking. It's different. ENTPs, we don't trust. ESTPs don't trust anybody else's thinking. I have this problem with Delilah all the time. She never listens to me. But then she sometimes comes back and goes, you were right about meow, 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 which is nice. Hi, Octavia Silva. I don't watch that show. I've heard a lot of people say that. Hero Lamb, I don't really know. I've never watched the show before. The thing is, when I had my 6th grade debater, he didn't listen to me, not because he was trying to be the smartest person in the room, but because he trusted his own experience more than he trusted my NI, and he countervalued the NI. So, for example, let's say he lost a round one time because a bad judge, said something dumb. Like, well, you need to have more meow in your speech, okay? Then he would prioritize that experiential learning over my informing him as a coach for my years of more experience and also being, an adult and having a fully developed brain and everything. I can tell you that's a fluke. That you should not change what you're doing because of that. That judge was wrong. Don't listen to your experience. Listen to me. And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to, and he ended up doing shit like trying to spike out everything he never lost on before in every case. And I'd say, Edmund, you're killing me here. And he just tried to be faster and cleaner with it. And say, well, I can do it all. I can get all the arguments in. Edmund, listen to me. That's 3rd slot, absolute value, SI. He trusts his experience more than me. But ENTPs are more able to get out of that. We are more able to learn than INTPs in other people's ways, okay? Edmund. ENTPs are more able to learn according to other people than INTPs are. INTPs always are more able to learn according to themselves, but ENTPs are more able to learn according to other people. As far as being good listeners, ENTPs are effective listeners. That's what it means to have TI as a tool function. In other words, I'm responsive to what people actually say. I hear what they say, and I know what it means, and I respond to it. However, I lost my train of thought because what David Sanderson says. I mean, I don't know. There are a couple of people who people sometimes call like the best debater ever. There's one guy who debated for the Harvard debate team. There's some videos on. You can see him. He's extremely fast and clean, and meta. But I don't know who you're talking about. There are international debate leagues, but the American High School Debate League is the strong, or college, they're about equal, are the strongest debate leagues in the world by far. I've been to other countries and set up debates there and stuff, and nobody comes close to the level of top level American debate. It's an American sport. So if he's that good, he must be competing in America, you know? The way that like Like we have what's called British parliamentary debate in America as one event, and it annoys the fuck out of me. It's like, what do you mean you could interrupt in the middle? Point of order, fuck off, I'm talking. Does that seem simple enough, right? Why would you have point of order? God. Nobody can ever get through a goddamn speech. That's my vision of British Parliament, right? Point of order. And here's my American response to it, standing up in the front of British Parliament. Fuck off, I'm talking. Does that make sense to anybody? In British parliamentary debate, you can interrupt people in the middle of their speeches and say point of order and ask them to clarify something. Which to me just seems absolutely fucking ridiculous. I mean, that just, what? Yeah, I agree with you, David Sanderson. Well, it's more interfacey and less deliberation actiony. So as a deliberation action type, namely I act first and I deliberate as a tool function, TI, I like things that engage in that fashion, right? So I don't want an endless talking back and forth kind of debate. I want shit where we each have turns. And I want questioning periods where the questioner controls the question and answering. And to be fair and equal on both sides. In other words, when I'm asking questions, you have to answer them. And if I don't like your answer, I can cut you off. Okay, that's enough. Ask you the next question. That's how a cross-examination works, right? Both people should get to cross-examine the other person. Like, I wonder, I should probably publish this video. This video here is, they're going to put it up into Google Drive, and I'll share you guys the link to it. It's a 6-minute video of the best I just had to find the plunger. It was easy enough to get once I found the plunger. I just couldn't find the plunger for a while. It was right there. It was it's like, here's the toilet, and then here's the part of the bathroom with the sinks in it, and it was underneath this sink here. It was the best 6-minute seconds. It was the best second neg speech that Jeffrey did after practicing several of them yesterday. I had to get him to. He had a lot of work to do. In fact, I did kind of a poor job of keeping up with him in the video. I was trying to show what he was doing on the flow the whole time during the video, but I didn't do a very good job of keeping up with him. But because I didn't have it organized properly, right? I was on the wrong document for a little bit. But anyway, you could. This is what it looks like when somebody's being very responsive to everything on the flow, and actually giving good warrants and reasons for things and so forth. And it's got a minute left to upload. 78% full. I'm gonna have to buy storage or delete some things. I just have so many files, is why. I should just buy more storage. I don't like to organize things very much. Makes me sad. Makes me want to cry to organize things. Yes, it really does. Unless I'm on a lot of speed, then it's fine. Share with a plus sign. Change to anyone with the link. Copy the link. Put the link here. Yeah, I have done debate videos in the past. I don't like to have external hard drives. I am much happier having Google Drive. I, Debate's a TI thing, and it's even more than that, it's a TI anything. Somebody actually released Poop Knife as a commercial product. I don't like to even hear about that. It's too sad a story that it was that anyway. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, it's possible there's somebody who's extremely good at it, and maybe even the best at it. But it's very difficult to get to be the best at it without competition rounds against highly skilled people. Let me put that link. So what you'll see if you see this is a ninth grader doing a pretty good job, more than a pretty good job, a pretty great job for a ninth grader. Okay, but you also should remember that he's a ninth grader right now, and I've had him for about a year and a half, prior to which he didn't know anything. Well, NEFI is, it's like I'm pretty sure that that's what that Matacut guy is, NEFI, and it's interesting because where I want to maximize when I want to maximize the sort of turn taking aspect of it, they want to maximize the interface aspect of it because they don't want to have to deal with the TI at all. It's odd because they have the same. We're both action interface types, so I mean action deliberation types. So I don't know why. So the thing is, for people who have no familiarity with competition flow debate, then watching this video will give them some indication of the difference between how to be responsive and how not.
So I'm going to start by going over the framework. My opponent agreed to social justice, so that's good. Now going on to my opponent's value criterion of maximum employment. So I uphold under both value criterion. However, maximum employment and stable prices aren't actually value criterion because they're goals. A real value criterion should be a process that you can implement to achieve a goal such as stable prices and maximum employment. So we prefer my value criterion because it's actually value criterion. So what that means is the only real value criterion in this round is my value criterion of removing discretion from economic policy, which my opponent has failed to uphold thus far. Now we'll want to address my opponent's card. His first card was touching, so he needed to touch to establish the BER. However, I'm going to read hours 20.8. Federal job guarantees eliminate discretionary monetary policy, and it's impossible to structure automatic stabilizers without active restructuring the tax code. Quote. It is highly unlikely that after the enormous change in the.
So if you watch that video, the sound quality is not great, okay? But you can hear it if you watch it on your own because it's Jeffrey has poor sound quality on his end, but the recording on my end got it as well as it sounded to me. Jeffrey's a ninth grader. But what you can also see if you look at it yourself, okay, because I put the link here for it, so you don't have to. So like right there, you're hearing it coming out of my TV speakers. They're going through my not very great webcam mic because I didn't have the regular mic on. But if you watch it yourself, you can see I try to keep up with him and go along with showing what cards he's reading in response to what. And the visuals really help understand what's going on here in this video. But the point is that this is, if you have 6 minutes to talk in a debate that's structured and competitively fair, it will end up turning out like this at the top level. I mean, this is not top level, keep in mind. This guy's a ninth grader. I've only worked with him for less than 2 years. I mean, it's certainly the case that places that encourage that encourage and reward free discourse. Best one I've ever seen. I mean, well, it's a tough question to answer. So it's like I've watched some incredible rounds where one team or one guy just kills it, and they just annihilate the other people and stuff. It's hard to say because it's rare you get a round where both teams really, really kill it. Sometimes you do. Those are the situations where you really can see somebody attaining at the maximum level. I've judged finals in middle school before. I've judged in national finals. I mean, which is a 5-judge panel. I've been on some good panels. I've been on some important round panels, and I've seen some very high quality debates. But I couldn't tell you their names. As far as my own debaters go, I've seen David Dosh. David Dosh was an incredibly good debater, and his little sister, whom he coached, ended up becoming arguably the best LDU debater in the country. Certainly, I think she had the most TOC bids in the country. She had like 16 bids, which is insane. And she won Green Hill, and so she was a beast. And she's from my own coaching lineage, so to speak. Although I never coached her myself. David Dosh was my first real debater, my first war buddy. We learned together. I learned to coach. He learned to debate. David Dosh is embedded in my heart. They shouldn't ever have any lay judges in final rounds. It depends on the level of debate and the significance of the tournament. The more important the tournament, the more if, for example, to get TOC bids, a tournament has to be of certain high quality, protocols. And so you don't get to have TOC bids if you have lay judges at all in your TOC rounds. So there are no lay judges in TOC rounds. Every judge has to have a paradigm up. They have to have, and there's a wiki now, and it's like things have gotten very internety. So in fact, there's judge preferences. So every judge in a TOC round has to say what their paradigm is and stuff online. And then the debaters look at the paradigms, and then they go, okay, well, I'm going to pref this judge is number one. It sounds like they like our kind of debater most. And this judge is last because they like our kind of debater least. And then in rounds, they do prefs to make sure that both teams either dislike the judge or both teams like the judge about the same. Pretty crazy, huh? And at the top level, there's all this, like TOC, towards the end, almost every round is disputed. Somebody will dispute it, and then there's the debate after the debate about whether or not there was some irregularity that means we should treat the round differently than a normal round, like double loss, double win, or drop this team and pick up that team. It's an absolute nightmare at its absolute maximal attainment. Is an absolute nightmare. Everything is debated. There are no rules that are not subject to debate. So, Legends Fall, are you of the opinion that Samuel Janofsky is an ENFP? I don't know, but I don't think so. He's not an INFP, that's for sure. I think he's probably an ENTP. It feels like, it sounds like a bunch of TI users in there. Exactly. So anyway, this video is called When Types Collide. And, you know, types collide a lot. David Dosh was an ENTP like me. My current debater is also an ENTP like me. Those vids were a barrage of FI, but I didn't test him at all, so I don't really know. He feels like an ENTP to me, but I could be wrong. That's just my gut. I think there are three types that can be equally good: INTJ, INTP, and ENTP. I've had excellent debaters of all three types. David Dosh was probably the best ENTP debater I've had, although my current one, Jeffrey, will be pretty good after I've had him another couple of years. You know, he's going to be pretty damn good. It's just Jeffrey is, you know, I had this video, unfortunately, the other day where it was very instructive because it was me getting him to hone down what he was saying into something specific over time. The point was this, and he does it kind of, I think it was maybe the same point that gets argued in this video that I posted up here, but it's about the value criterion. In this debate that we're talking about, the topic is federal jobs guarantee. The value criterion is the thing you do to uphold the value, okay? So our value criterion on NEG is remove discretion from government policy, government economic policy. I think Shapiro is an ENTP. I've heard lots of people say maybe he's an ESTJ. That's possible as well, but I think he's an ENTP. I would say, interestingly, that like I find that a very ENTP response. All ENTPs are, I imagine. It doesn't mean he's not an ENFP, but this is what I'm saying with my gut feels like he's an ENTP. Ben Shapiro is a good debater, and he's he obviously has competition debate experience. He comes from competition debate experience, and that's why he's such a good debater. Grace was my best INTJ debater. I don't know if I have any videos for her anywhere. I guess I probably took all the kid videos down, so probably not. She was real good. I had Big Edmund. Big Edmund was an ENTP. I never debated in college. The interesting thing is college debate is actually not as competitive, really, because there are lots of different like leagues, I guess, and there's not really a unified national competition. There's a bunch of different compartmentalized. I just got influenced by Samuel's use of the word. A bunch of different regional nationals, quote unquote. There's not any real strong nationals. Dean M says, you know, Destiny the Streamer is probably the best YouTube debater you've ever seen. I mean, you've seen me, so he's not. But I understand that perhaps you've not seen me debate, so that's fine. I believe he is. I don't doubt that he's solid. But he's got the wrong position on COVID. If he's willing to argue wrong positions, he's not as solid as I am. How each of the types react to critique? I don't remember the name of that video. I'm sorry. Okay. Talk to anybody. Talk to anybody. You don't have to be big and important. I'll make a video with anybody. No, I don't know who Bausch is. Hi, bro. How are you? Igor Araujo. You seem like a legitimate, real person. Bausch only debates conservatives/fascists. Am I conservative? He probably consider me conservative/fascist. I don't know. Maybe not. It comes to a point where people say you don't look like a type. That's when you know they're full of shit. Chill, dog. What's that broken paper thing? Chill, dog. Chill, dog. Oh, in the video, Bausch claims that COVID would kill millions of Americans if they go back to work. That's quite a claim. He's not an INFP. Maybe you're right about the FI, but he's not an INFP. Destiny lost to vegan gains. I mean, I wouldn't lose to vegan gains. I'm not sure vegan gains and I would disagree is the problem. My position is that he would be unable to establish that there's a negative moral prohibition against eating meat and that positive moral indications are particularist, and that sums up the matter. I'm not a moral relativist, that's for sure. He didn't lose the debate, he just rejects normative claims? That's ridiculous. He doesn't reject normative claims. If he's a debater, how can he possibly reject normative claims? He's saying that everything's always prescriptive? That we should never do anything for normative reasons? If he actually says that, then he's incredibly weak because he's chosen the weakest side of the arguments. That's what it boils down to. It's like people talk about whether someone's a good debater or not. The reason I'm a good debater, quote unquote, is mostly because I'm right about everything. It's easy to debate when you're right. It's difficult to debate when you're wrong. So, yeah, I'm a fantastic debater. What I mean by that is I'm very rarely wrong. So, Freddie Forgiato, what I would say about that debate is, was it established ahead of time who was affirming and who was negating? Was it established ahead of time who was affirming and who was negating? For me, my best debating is done when I'm low energy. Destiny was negating veganism? You mean he was affirming veganism? Oh, Vegan Games was affirming. Well, then it sounds like Destiny won the debate. But of course, for Destiny to win the debate, he would have had to make very clear that the reason he won is because Vegan Games failed to meet his burden to affirm. If, in fact, Vegan Games was affirming specifically a positive moral obligations. If Vegan Games was not affirming a positive moral obligation, was instead affirming something like a positive moral indication or a negative moral prohibition, then it's a different question. So it's very important that these questions be addressed before the debate to see if there's even a reason to have a debate. Can you speculate as to what socio-class distinctions would, if any, emerge in a post-UBI nation without a welfare class? I mean, why would UBI eliminate a welfare class? UBI would codify a welfare class. It would say, here, the poor are all this. So you're, oh, well, yeah. So if in fact Vegan Gains was affirming a negative moral prohibition, then Vegan Gains lost. But not because all acts are morally neutral until proven otherwise. It's because it is possible to establish moral prohibitions, but not with animals, because animals can't have rights. The reason animals can't have rights is because they don't respect issues of ownership, they can't forfeit their rights, etc. And as a consequence, then we can successfully argue that we ought to embrace as a positive moral indication some move towards veganism because it is positively morally indicated. But that's not universal. And so it's still an individual choice. In other words, but those are dumb reasons, Legends Fall, to negate or affirm veganism because that can be worked around. Of course, there'd be a distinction still, Sean, because you have people, you're going to have a whole class of people who live on just that, and then you're going to have people who work and make a lot more money than that, and you're still going to have two classes. You're going to have more than two classes, you know? It's ridiculous. The thing is, as it stands now, prior to COVID, America experienced very little actual poverty. It's relative poverty that the Americans experience. They just say, I don't like being so much poorer than these people. Absolute poverty means I don't have any food to eat. I don't have any shelter or clothes, things like that. There's very little of that in America, although increasingly some. Why is there increasingly some? Because of the various bad, because of the Supreme Court ruling regarding homelessness that tries to push the response to homelessness onto the localities, which is, of course, just incentivizing it. So we have to fix that, and I've addressed that in another video. Your engagement with politics is clearly agenda-based. So, the thing is, what I've come to understand in prepping for this federal jobs guarantee topic is that there does exist something called the labor standard. And the labor standard is a good way to approach the economy that doesn't involve a UBI and that also doesn't involve a jobs guarantee, but that functions a lot like a jobs guarantee. Now, here's the other thing I've determined, is that most economists don't really know what they're talking about. I was surprised to determine this, and I've kind of been suspecting it for a long time, but by and large, there's no consensus among economists at all regarding what the economy is, how it works, what you should do, any of that shit. I think I got rid of my Patreon. I haven't looked at it in a long time. I don't like it. It makes me feel dirty. I just won't. It just makes me feel dirty. I don't know what else to say about it. It makes me feel like I gotta take a shower. They're not angry, Raphael. They're disappointed. Okay? They're disappointed at the Lions. I have one. I just haven't looked at it in a long time. Probably has some money in it. I don't know. Right now, I got about 12 hours sleep last night. Yeah, I know, Dave Sanderson. Can you let me have my fucking sleepy week? I've been denied it this month. I'm finally getting it. I don't have any more. I'm all out of them. I got to make a new printing of them. I need a lot of sleep. And I don't get it for three weeks out of the month, and then I have to catch up, If you're an INTP or an ENTP or an INTJ, and you were to go through my math thing that I have, then you could probably teach yourself. If you're an INFJ, you'll be like, this is 2TI. Let me see if I can find you my math thing. Um, here. This is called strategic. This is called strategic argumentation. Well, it's good times excitement for everyone around. Now, this is like a syllabus of sorts, so it explains some things and it doesn't explain some things. It's like I put in some notes on some things and I didn't fill in some things, so it may or may not be useful. I think he's got to be an SI Dom, Sean O'Neill. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe an ISTJ. Adderall is a wonder drug that actually does work wonders. Giovanni. Except for the J. You take Vyvanse? I like Vyvanse. I've only taken it one time, but I liked it. I am learning to well, that's because you need your spaces. You need your talking time without interruptions. Yeah. Natural disasters of all types, increasing tech-making jobs that people are well trained in, obsolete. Andrew Yang points this out. Point is basic universal basic income is necessary now more than ever. Well, I mean, I do have actually, Rome, in my presidential platform, a sustainable and funded UBI plan. But note that I'm not for increasing tech-making jobs that people are well trained in, obsolete. I don't know what you think I'm in favor of, but my point about the UBI is most people address it, as probably you address it, is unfunded, and as a consequence, it's not sustainable. And the only way we could fund it is opposed by everybody who is in favor of UBI, which is to say we nix all existing other sort of social programs and redirect those resources towards the UBI. So you probably oppose that notion. Am I right, bro? And yet you probably support a UBI anyway. So, I mean, in that regard, we know that we can't take somebody seriously about a UBI unless they're talking about they have a funded plan. If you have a funded plan, then fine. You get to talk to me about a UBI. If you're not talking about a funded plan, then you're just blowing smoke out your ass. And you have no business even thinking about politics. If you believe you have an opinion about a UBI, but you don't have if you're not respective to a specific funded plan, then you're just talking shit at your ass, and you have no business even thinking about politics. Oh, that's funded, Rome. That's funded. What's your funding plank? What do you think that's funded from? You're proving my point. That's a funded UBI. No, not taxes, moron. Oil reserves. Alaskan oil reserves. The people of Alaska enjoy the profits of exploiting those oil reserves. That's where it's funded from. The amount that they get depends on the sale price of oil. It goes up and down according to how much money they get from the oil they sell. You don't know that, and yet you have an opinion about a UBI. So what's your plan to fund it, Rome? What's your plan to fund it? Say it can be funded. Prove it. Give me a plan. How do you want to fund it? Well, I get mad when people talk politics and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, it sounds like you got a nice vision for a goal, for a wonderful society where there's infinite wealth and but you got no plan. You got no reality. Seizing 100% of perverts' assets can fund UBI. And how do you determine who's a pervert? More taxes? You're advocating in favor of more taxes to fund a UBI. Where does wealth come from? What is wealth? People don't even understand that basic question, and yet they have all these policies that inform economics in mind. It's ridiculous. Wealth comes from magic guy friend. It comes when people do useful work for one another. Okay, that's fine. That sounds reasonable enough, Morridge, what you're saying. Anyway, so if you want to talk about actual economics, there's something kind of important to think. The conventional approach to a government's economy and relation to the economy is that of a central bank. And in the United States, we instead have the Fed, which is kind of like a central bank. The point is, why does the Fed always have to push more currency into the economy and yet it doesn't seem to cause inflation? How come it is there's always billions and billions and billions and billions of more dollar bills in the economy and yet no inflation? Well, the answer is the government needs to push more money into the economy to account for the increased amount of wealth that is generated. In other words, the total amount of wealth in the world continues to go up because people continue to do useful things for one another. As a consequence, we can deduce that wealth is actually a metaphysical quantity, first and foremost. It is the quality of beholdence that you afford somebody when they do something that is useful to you. So when we recognize that wealth is created, not destroyed, it's not subject to the laws of thermodynamics. When we recognize that the new wealth is created when people do useful work, we want to know, well, how is that new wealth then fungibly represented as dollars infused into the economy? In the status quo, it's infused by giving it the Fed loaning that money to banks who then loan it to people. I don't understand why it's done that way. I don't think it should be done that way. No, wealth can be destroyed. I said it's not subject to the laws of thermodynamics. David Sanderson, it's not subject to. It can be created and destroyed. Okay. But the thing is, wealth is fundamentally, first and foremost, a metaphysical. Yeah, right. And so we use dollar bills to create a fungible physical object that represents the metaphysical thing. This is the opposite of how we normally do things. For almost everything except wealth, it works the other way around. We have a physical thing, and we come up with a symbol to represent it. This is a cigarette. That's the symbol we use to represent this thing, right? But wealth is the other way around. It exists as a metaphysical quality first. People feel beheld. I don't know what the past participle of behold is. To other people, because other people have done useful work. We need to have money so that we don't have to owe them favors that are proportional to the amount of use they've given us, but we can just give them instead this fungible thing. Here's some dollar bills that represent how big of a favor I owe you, you know? And so the point I'm saying is this. Why isn't that money that represents the new wealth that's being generated by the economy just directly given to the various people, split evenly amongst everybody, and just given to them that way? Why don't we do that? Why would that cause inflation, but the current way that we do it not cause inflation? I need somebody to explain that to me who actually understands it. And as far as I can tell, nobody does. I've done a lot of research on Google Scholar for this topic, and there's no consensus at all among economists about what wealth is, about how the government ought to interact with the economy, about, there are a few laws, so to speak. Everyone is pushing on your NENTI today. Who? As David Sanderson says. Oh. I thought instead of trying to get Eric to change, you should try to get him to be his best version of himself. That's the most successful strategy. Eric is going off, can feel the energy coursing through him. What do you mean I'm going off? I'm explaining shit. I'm in lecture mode, because this is a topic that needs to be explained. There's something called MMT, which is modern monetary theory, that is basically a justification for socialism that tries to sort of interface its understanding of the economy with capitalism. And how do you react to this suggestion the federal tax code should simply be a flat rate across all people, no deductions to big implications? I think it's a fantastic idea. I think even better than that, we should get rid of the income tax entirely and just have a federal sales tax that is equivalent to the amount of tax dollars they take in now. That's more progressive than a flat tax, and the only complaint you would have about it is that it's contraindicative of consumption, which is the engine of the economy. But the fact is, people's consumption probably won't be impacted very much by the amount of taxes they pay on the sales tax. People will still buy up to their means, basically. But yeah, but here's a very meetable goal that I have as far as I'm not a Keynesianist. Okay, I'm trying to figure this whole economy thing out. Okay, the reality is that that there's not any consensus, okay, among economists. And as far as I can tell, nobody's figured out yet this key point, which is that wealth is first metaphysical, and that whatever means we use to make it fungible, be it gold coins or dollar bills, that thing is representative of the actual, not the actual thing. And that's where we get so confused. Because when we have to say a gold standard, the perception is gold is the actual wealth and money is the representational thing. It's not true. Gold is still the representational thing. The actual wealth is metaphysical. So I'm trying to figure out how to I mean, look, I can't figure out everything. So I'm not trying to really figure out everything, but I'm pointing out that, okay, nobody seems to really get this. Trump paid $720 in federal taxes. That's hilarious. I've always said that, you know, the problem with the current tax thing is if you declare yourself a single person, independent contractor, corporation, you pay 15% in taxes. Now that could be more or less than what you pay currently in taxes, depending on how much you make. But but more importantly, if you're a corporation, you don't get your Social Security shit withheld, and that's huge, right? That's like a huge amount of money to not have taken away from you.
I agree.
So, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up now. I'll probably live stream again later. This is a non-Adderall day, so I've got limited amounts of information, limited amounts of energy. There's the purple one right there, and the little
Lighter.
in my hand.
Okay. I thought there was another.
There is. It's right here.
Ah, cool. All right. Okay.
I've got all the answers. You see that? I've got all the answers.
Joe has all the answers. That's why I did him, because he has all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's got this like bodacious bod, and he's totally like a dude.
What do I think about decentralized currencies like Bitcoin? I think they're indicative of what I'm saying. In other words, now that we have computers that can pay attention on our behalf, they can pay attention to something and generate wealth accordingly. That's what I mean by when useful work is done for somebody else, quote unquote, it creates new wealth. Well, cryptocurrency is a way that computers can do sort of artificially useful work that generates new wealth because they pay attention on our behalf, and they consume much less wealth than they generate accordingly. So it's, in other words, wealth is a product of attention. I'll end on that note. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Adios from Talking with Famous People.